I am a 26 years old female. Me and my fiancé, he's 28, been engaged for 4 months. We're planning on having our wedding on October 18th. My future mother-in-law kept annoying me and sending me suggestions for choosing the right wedding dress, and said that she knew better and tried to get me to approve of wedding dresses that she chose. And when she couldn't enforce her decision, she demanded that I take her with me to buy my wedding dress so she could have an opinion. Before I went shopping, I called her to ask if she wanted to come, but started making excuses about how busy she was with my sister-in-law. I went shopping with my mom and I was able to find a really nice dress, although it cost me a little over what I saved up for. But it was worth it. I made some changes to it and it was perfect. It arrived to my apartment at the end of the week. I made sure it was stored in a safe place so it doesn't get ruined. Yesterday, I got back from my mom's house and found that my fiancé wasn't home, neither was the dress. I called him immediately, knowing that he must have taken it to show it to his mom, since she continuously asked to see it and refused to have me send her pictures of it on Facebook. I was so mad when it was confirmed that my fiancé took it to show it to his mom. He said he was gonna be home in 30 minutes. After he went to the supermarket, I waited for longer than I had to, and then when he arrived I ran to get my dress. That was buried underneath grocery bags. I took it to check on it and its zipper was broken, and the dress itself, fabric, was stretched out. I was like, what the happened to it? My mother-in-law must have tried it on, because it looked ruined. The straps were almost loose. I had to call my mother-in-law when my fiancé told me his mom and sister took turns to try it on. I was absolutely livid. She told me she did nothing wrong and that I was making a big deal out of it. She said she'd get a replacement for the broken zipper. But I told her to pay for a new dress since it was stretched out and no longer fitting. She refused and said that I probably wasn't happy with my dress choice and wanted her to pay so I could get a new one. I yelled at her for trying it on and ruining it. That she and my fiancé were responsible for ruining my dress, so they should pay for a new one. It's done, no longer fitting. The straps are in a horrible condition. My mom said she'd pay for fixing it, but I just hate it now that someone else wore it before me. I'm mad at both of them and seriously considering postponing the wedding. My sister and her husband were sent to prison at the start of this year, and sadly won't be released for a few years. That left me to look after their 15-year-old daughter Amy. I was perfectly happy to do this, but as most of their wealth was seized for being ill-gotten, it's meant that I've been having to care for her out of my own pocket. Once again, this doesn't bother me, but it's meant massive life changes for the kid. Firstly, they sent her to a private school. I can't afford anywhere near those fees, so I had to transfer her to a local school. She was upset at this at first, but she quickly made friends and is excelling academically, so this isn't a huge problem. She's been off school for the last few months anyway due to the situation. A bigger problem is clothing. Like my sister, Amy loves fashion and designer stuff. She's still got a lot of stuff that her parents got her, but she's always on the lookout for new clothes. Unfortunately, I can't afford anywhere near the sort of stuff she likes. And I also have 2 children of my own whose clothing I have to pay for. I have told my sister this, but she insists I should make allowances because her daughter is going through a tough time. Amy also really doesn't get along with my daughter Hannah, who is 11. She bullies her, calls her stupid and ugly, tells her none of her friends really like her, etc. She has made her cry on many occasions and often continues to taunt Hannah while she cries. Yesterday I caught Amy trying to buy a dress costing over $1,000 with my card. I was fuming and had a long conversation with her. She cried and sobbed that she just wanted one nice thing. My sister called from the prison, and Amy cried over the phone that she hates here and I treat her unfairly. I spoke to my sister afterwards and she begged me to go easy on her daughter because she's still adjusting. I put food on this kid's plate. I buy her whatever clothes I can afford, even if they aren't to her taste. I take her to visit her parents as much as possible. They're held in different facilities. And I do all of that on top of working and looking after my own children. I told my sister that I was willing to look after her daughter for as long as she needs. But if anything like the card incident happens again, or if she continues to pick on my daughter, there will be serious consequences for her. My sister wanted to argue, but they get limited time on the prison phone. I think what I'm doing is right. I get that the kid is going through a tough time, and I'm doing everything I can to be there for her. But I can't just tolerate bad behavior or bullying, and I can't afford to pay for her expensive clothing. The fact that she's struggling to deal with what happened to her parents doesn't change that. My husband doesn't like to go out much. It's not something that I've ever faulted him for or been mad at him about. We've never gotten in fights about it till now, and it's something he told me up front when we had first gotten in the relationship 4 years ago. I'm never going to be the kind of person that likes to go out a lot. I just want to hang out at home. And I of course said that it was fine because that's not a flaw to me, it's just a character trait. I used to suffer from depression due to a lot of traumas in my life. I found it really hard to go outside at all, and especially alone. I missed out on a lot of experiences because of this. In our first year of dating, he got me to have more confidence in myself, so I stopped hiding. I got a therapist and have been on a wonderful little antidepressant. We got married 1 year later, and I'm still happier than I have ever been, and I'm incredibly grateful to have him in my life. That hasn't changed one bit. Now, I know that this isn't what he does. I know that he doesn't stay inside because he's depressed, it's because it's in his nature to be a house cat. And like I said, I'm still fine with that. Lately he's not okay with me doing this, though. If I ask him if he wants to see a movie with me and he said no, or the more common, I don't know, maybe, I'll usually ask him 2 more times, and then if he still says no, or maybe I'll go by myself. It's the same with going out to dinner, taking little classes, etc. We had fun with this at first. I would come home from doing the thing, and then I would excitedly tell him what I'd done and the people I'd met. He'd happily listen and hug me and kiss me on the forehead. It was a really beautiful thing. At one point we called it My Little Adventures, and I would take Polaroid pictures and show them to him and then hang them on the kitchen wall. It was a seriously beautiful point in our relationship, and the times that we would go out and take Polaroids together were some of the happiest times in my life. I even made it a point to have us go to things that he liked to do. It was great. It was seriously so great. About 2 years ago I asked him, "Hey, I've been really passionate about learning a language and eventually going to this language's place of origin. Do you want to study it with me and then go there too?" And he said no to the language, but maybe to going with me. Cut to now, and I'm pretty good at this language. I decided about 4 months ago that I am going to this place. I asked he and he would still like to come with me, and he said no and got kind of upset that I had learned this language without him. "You're the one that's going to know anything, there's really no point in me going." I was kind of taken aback because during the process he was really supportive. I didn't really push it, but I apologized and went somewhere else to clear my head about things, and we were fine later on that day. I bought the tickets for me and my mother to go to the place about 4 weeks ago, and ever since then, things have been really tense. If I ask him to do minor things, like come to the grocery store with me, he gets a bit of an attitude. I can tell that he knows this is ridiculous though, because he'll say sorry almost immediately and be sad and quiet the rest of the time. I've tried to talk to him about what's bothering him, but he keeps either saying that it's nothing and he doesn't want to talk about it, or will tell me not to press it and then get mad and leave. I don't know what to do at this point. Our relationship has been so great, but I can feel things being strained. I can feel him kind of slipping away. I don't know what to do. I thought about buying him a ticket to the place anyway and surprising him, because I really would love it if he could go with me, and I know for a fact it's somewhere he's always been interested in. But I also don't want to force him, because I hate forcing people to do things. However, I also don't want to stop having these experiences for myself just because he doesn't want to. I've never faulted him for wanting to be at home, so why is he faulting me for wanting to be outside? I don't know how to talk to him or what to say. If I have to stop doing things, then I guess I will. But I also feel bad for having to stop, but it's not worth getting a divorce over or having things escalate that bad. I just don't know what to do or where to go from here. We had a bit of a long talk. I'm kind of a mix of exhausted, drained, and excited now. He said he feels like he's drowning in my success. I said I would learn a language, and I did it. I said I would lose 180 pounds, and I did it earlier in our relationship and got the skin surgery. I have a pretty stress-free job, and it's getting to him. He's been trying really hard to just be happy, but it's hard. He understands that it's wrong to feel this way, and between feeling guilty about it and feeling this way at all, it's just been taking its toll. He also has a skin condition that makes him feel cautious of going outside, especially in another country. I never thought this would be the problem, because he's always acted as though it's not a bother to him at all and he doesn't care. He's going to keep trying though, and to seek therapy independent of me because he thinks that he also may really be suffering from depression. Now, I have to say that we do have communication problems. Our friendship, 2 years before dating, started off long distance in Antwerp, so we're still kind of better with text talking than out loud speaking. Sometimes we have a hard time saying when things are bothering us out loud. So we'll text it out and then read off of that text because we find it hard to verbalize, and sometimes we just take things harder than we should. We've agreed to go to marriage counseling and we're making an appointment together tomorrow, so there are good things afoot. For more good news, he's agreed to go on vacation with me and my mother. I messed up in this, too. I like to think that hearing maybe or other apathetic answers instead of just yes or no didn't bother me, but it did. And sometimes, as some people pointed out, I would get kind of passive-aggressive about it. I'd ask him simply because it meant that I tried at times. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. I'm going to work on that more in myself as well. I'm 25 and am having a micro-wedding. My dad's 43 and this woman's at least in her 50s. My dad and this woman have been together like 3 to 4 years at this point. I've never met her as they live on the opposite side of the country. I've had about 3 to 4 conversations with her over the phone and grow more annoyed every time. The first one was when I cut my mom off after a bad blow-up. Going on and on about I'm young and I'll come around and she's my mom still, etc, etc, etc. The second was last summer. I was 8 months pregnant and my car was impounded BC of the insurance company. It was resolved. I called to let my dad know, not her, and she kept going in circles repeating that we need to get it cause it accrues fees. I had a minor snap then. I don't appreciate being talked to like I'm stupid and 15. I was telling him that BC of the insurance company our truck got towed and was in impound, and they were in the process of getting it out. She chimes in, he had me on speaker, and repeatedly said in a tizzy, get that car out. You need it, it's accrues fees, the longer it's there the more it is. Literally repeated the same sentences for 10 minutes, refusing to listen. When I told her it was being handled until I snapped and told her to stop it because it was being handled and I knew perfectly well what impound is and does and to stop talking to me like I'm 16 years old. Again, I was 8 months pregnant and was giving an update, not asking advice. I sent my dad an invite specifically addressed to only him and his RSVP was pre-filled for only him. I've seen him all of 2 times in the last 10 years and the only time he made an effort of contact was when I was pregnant. Well, now I'm getting married, in a week at this point. He never sent his RSVP card, so I texted him asking about him and his parents and he said they're all coming. So I reiterated all 3? And he said 4 including this woman. I said his invite was addressed to him and pre-filled for 1. I haven't had a text since. Not only is it my wedding, but my FH and I are announcing our 2nd pregnancy as well, and I don't want someone who lacks boundaries there. Or someone, not from my IL family, that I haven't met / don't know. Yes, I did try talking to him this spring in person about her behavior. I told him I don't appreciate it when she talks to me like some stupid teenager who doesn't know what anything means. I don't call for advice, I call to give updates. I didn't need or appreciate the consistent repeating of information I had made clear I already knew. He told me she's just motherly and I told him that's great for her. But I'm not her child, I'm not her friend, and I don't need another mother. I have 3 and didn't need another one. I'll be sending a message tomorrow asking if he's coming or not, and if he won't go without her that's fine. Just don't come at all, and I'll send a Zoom link that ends promptly after the ceremony. It's my wedding and I just don't want her there. If he doesn't want to go without her that's fine, I'll send a link to the stream for those who couldn't be there.